Hello everyone, and welcome to our session today on Microsoft Teams. Joining us today is Holly Kutel from Innovia Consulting, and we are excited to have such a fantastic turnout today. Thank you all who have attended. And before I pass it over to Holly to cover on this hot topic of Microsoft Teams, I would like to remind you that this session is being recorded and it will be posted to our on-demand webinar library later this week for you to review and share with anyone. And if you do have any questions, please feel free to type those into the questions box and we will get them answered at the end of our session. So now I will pass it on to Holly to kick off our presentation.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's so good to have you all here and to talk about Microsoft Teams, one of Microsoft's newest pieces on the Office platform, and also one of my favorite tools to use and enjoy. My contact information is here. If you need it, feel free to jot it down. It will also show up in the recording. And contact me anytime you like to talk about Teams. I love to chat about Teams. Or if you have any other questions for us that we can help you with and assist from Innovia Consulting. So one thing I like to say is it does take a village to make things work. And one of the best ways to do that, especially for us who are working remotely and maybe not in the same office environment, Teams is a great place to make a hub and to be our office environment where we can collaborate and work together. And so we are grateful that Microsoft put together Teams as a platform where we can have a virtual office and work together on the internet. And so you can see here that you can download a Windows app for your computer, a desktop version that we will look at, as well as looking at the web instance, where you can jump on and be virtual on the web. And then also Teams does have the mobile app for all of your phones available that you can download on your different app stores, which is really a nice feature and that I enjoy. It's an easy way when you're out to message and text your team members and get information back and forth when you're not sitting right at your desk in front of your computer. So some of the things that Teams can do for you guys is helps you communicate more effectively, work better, customize your workspace, and keep your team secure. Just a great place to collaborate and work. Your Word, Excel, PowerPoint, SharePoints, all of your collaboration tools work right inside of Teams for you with some great features available there. There's tons of apps and third-party services available to you to use within Microsoft Teams. Some of them we'll talk about today. You could do a whole webinar just on the different bots and apps available, and that's a lot of fun to play with and learn some things from those. You have your chat, your meeting, your calling, and your conferencing all in the same space, so you're not having to jump in and out of different environments. You can do it all right within one central location in the Teams hub. So can I have Teams with my version of Office products? So Teams is free. There is a free version. You can go on and sign up and use Microsoft Teams, download it. It is a limited, so there's partial availability of the different areas on the free version. If you're on 365 Business Premium, you're going to have a little bit more detail and depth in your Teams version. And then if you are Office 365 E3, you're going to have full access to everything from there on in the Microsoft Teams versions. So you see a little phone here, and what's interesting about this is it's a newer part of Teams and what they're rolling out. And as you're going to start to see this summer, Skype for Business is going to start to go away. And what that means is it's not gone forever, but what they're doing is they're moving Skype for Business into the Teams environment as part of what Teams actually is. And so your calling and your IMing and your Skype stuff is all going to be embedded in Teams as part of that calling package that comes with Teams. And part of that is they've also got phone systems out there now. So if you don't want to do it from your desktop with a headset, you can purchase phones that actually work with the Teams platform, and you can see it there in the window. Looks just like the Teams platform that we're going to view and look at. and you can see their messaging system, the calling and everything right there, and use it just as a regular phone for your calling and meeting needs. The other area that they've expanded on and is available to use with your Teams platform is also a hub office. And so this is just a small version of that. They have tons of them, some that have speakers and microphones and cameras and all kinds of stuff that come with them. And so this would sit on your conference room desk, and you can manipulate your teams and coordinate conference calls through the cyberspace from that hub right in your conference rooms as well. So Teams just continues to expand and grow as it goes along. And with that, we're going to jump into Teams. So now on my screen, you should see what it looks like when you log into your Office 365 account. So if you already have Office products, you go to office.com, and it has you log in. And when you log in, this is kind of the screen you would see with your different apps down below. And you can see that Teams is one of those apps right here. And so as you click on it, you can see it's going to load the Teams version out in the web. So it's asking me to log in again. And here you can, when you go to log in, it's going to give you the option to download the app or log in to the web version. And so here you can see the web version of the app. And it looks just like a website. And you can see your activities and menu items over to your left. The bar across the top, the search engine is a great tool. It's very intuitive, and we'll look at that a little bit as well as we go through. You can see your picture and your little profile over to the right here. And then the body of what you're working on will be in the large section to your right within the web version of the Teams. Now I'll flip over, and now we're looking at my desktop version. And so you can see it looks pretty much the same as the other version did. All the same info, your menu to your left, body of what you're working on in the center, your picture profile up to the right, and your search bar up in the middle there. And so they look virtually the same whether you're using desktop or the web version. And the mobile obviously looks a little different because it's streamlined to fit on your mobile device, but still all works the same for you. No matter what device you're on, it's going to look the same, and you're going to have the same features available to you. So let's run down the different menu items to the left. So activities is first, and what you see in activities is just anything that you are connected to within Teams. It could be one team, 10 teams. It could be different bots that the whole group is using. It could be apps that just you're using. But anything that happens inside of Teams during the day is going to continue to add to your activity feed here. And you'll see all the different things that have happened during the day on my feed. The next box is the chat box. And so here you'll see any conversations that have taken place. You can click on them. You can continue to carry on the conversation with them. You can restart a conversation that has ended and go right back into it. You can go to your contacts list. You could set up a list of favorites, so people that you chat with a lot or have conversation with a lot, you can add to a favorites list. So you just click on the add contact to this group on the 3 dots, and you can select people to add there. You can create groups by work or department. And so here I've created our customer engagement team, and you can add, remove, rename, change this group. And just that easily, I can click on Steve and choose to begin a new conversation with Steve and say, hey, Steve, are you busy? And he might answer back and he may not answer back. Within the chats, you also have the ability to use formatting, add an attachment. So I could send a file to Steve. If I send a file to Steve in a chat, this chat remains in our conversation list, and those files then would show up over here as files that we've shared in our conversation that either Steve or I would be able to go back and view at any time. I can just go back from and go to my computer. I have a funny picture of Steve in here. If I could find him. There he is. And it'll send that picture into our group, and then it will also save it into our files as well. The other things you can use are emojis. So you can select typing in a subject or an item, and you can add in an emoji to the chat as well. And there you can see the file uploaded there, so we could go back and capture that file anytime we want to use it again and embarrass Steve a little bit. You can use smileys. There's lots of things you can utilize inside of your messaging for Teams. Here I can have a meeting with Steve, and so I can go right in from my chat and just have a meeting with just Steve, where I could schedule that meeting. I could schedule it for immediately and just go right into a meeting with Steve right from my chat. I've also downloaded the Cisco WebEx meetings, so I could choose to use that as a meeting venue for our meeting. I could choose to put in the weather. So I can look for the weather because I added the weather bot to my team instance, and so here it's sending just the weather information. And so different bots and apps that you would add to your Teams experience, if they're available to use inside of the chat part of Teams, they will show up here as well. Here are some other ones that are loaded. You can bring in YouTube, Wikipedia searches, stocks, places, news, and then there's a praise that you can select little badges to put on to praise people for doing a good job. So these are all things that are used and able to be used with inside of our Teams chat windows. Going across the top after files is organization, and this shows the organization of the company that you are working with in team. And so here it shows if you maybe don't, if it's a large company, you don't know who belongs where, and maybe Steve's been bad and you want to talk to his boss, you could go to the organization, see where Steve is and go, oh, Tom's Steve's boss. I better reach out to Tom and have a chat with him about the silly pictures Steve keeps posing for. So that's just another feature there. And then you've also got activities. Any activities that have happened within the teams that we would have in common, both Steve and I, would be added to this list here so that we could see, oh, I was working on that project, so was Steve. Maybe I want to talk to him about it. Maybe it's a client that we've both been talking to and we're not aware that both of us were talking to. I would maybe see that here and I could reach out to Steve and say, hey, I've been talking to them too. What is your information? Is there something I could help you with? And so we can collaborate just by knowing what's going on in the activities within the Teams platform. Also up here to your right, again, I can choose to change from maybe we're talking back and forth and decide to have a video call. I could click here and we can move to a video conference call. I can just call him and have an audio call. And we could share screens with each other right from here, and it would just be me and Steve unless we added some other people in with the Add People button. Maybe we were chatting for a while and sharing a screen and decided that Jeff or one of the others would benefit from our conversation and we could add them right in just by clicking the button and selecting their name to add them. to the conversation. So that is really the chat section. We're going to skip over the team section and come back to it because that's the bigger area. Then you have the meeting section, and the meetings section on the menu brings in your Outlook calendar, and so it will update. You can add things here within Teams, and it will update and sync with your Outlook. And if you added an Outlook, it will update and sync back over here to your Teams. So if I wanted to schedule another meeting, I could schedule a meeting right from here and just add it in. It will bring up the nice little meeting screen. I can choose what channel I want to meet in. I can invite people, and I can invite people in the organization. So I can add Steve, and then I can choose to add people outside. And so here, this is an outside of the company member, and so you can add people to your meetings that are not within your organization. So there you see I've added one that is and one that isn't. It also tells me if Steve is marked free or available or busy or in a meeting. And then just like you would in Outlook or Skype, you can set your title. What is your meeting about? What is the location? If you set rooms up, you could find a room. I always put cyber. And then I can schedule the meeting. And it's going to add it in, and then I can select join and jump right on into that meeting. It will also send a link to everybody on that email list as well. So another place and way to easily set up a meeting and start a conversation with somebody and jump into a meeting. And you can select, again, people both within and without of your company and organization. So they do not have to be a part of your teams to join in a meeting. If they do not have teams on their side and they've received a Teams meeting, they'll have a link and they can join that meeting through the web interface without having to have a team application of their own. The next section is the call section, which is kind of cool. And like I said, if you're using Skype for Business, it's eventually just going to merge into here and all be one thing. And you won't be going back and forth from Skype to Teams. Some people will ask, well, why, if I have Skype, do I need Teams? Skype doesn't do all the things Team does. It's not really a hub, but at the end of the day, it's all going to come here. And this is where you'll find what you now call Skype for Business will be housed in this calls section here. And so here you can see I have my speed dial set up and my team is available to me right here to click, and I can video conference, call, chat, take them off, move them from speed dial, the list. I can add to the speed dial list, and I can add new groups as well if I want a separate group and stuff. That's just the speed dial people there. The next section is the contact section. And so on the contact section, it's anybody that's in your contacts from your Outlook. So there's people that are in and not in our organization that show up on the list, and they're all over the place. Any contact I have is going to show up in the list. And then the same thing goes here in the calling section is I can chat with them. I can send them an email from here. I can video. I can auto call. And then I can add them or remove them as a contact or add them to speed dial. I can also choose to add people to that pane as well that aren't necessarily on my Outlook list. I can add them directly here on the Teams meeting space. Here's where you see your history of calls. You see I have no calls listed in my history. I can choose to make a call from here. If someone was in my history, I can highlight them and recall them right from the history list. And then your voicemail as well will come into the Teams Center when you're using it in conjunction with your Skype for Business. Right now, mine is located in Skype for Business. We have not transitioned yet to the Teams space. And the last section here is the Files section, and so you'll see several. The first is recent, so it's going to show any files that you have recently opened in Office products. It's not necessarily within Teams. It could just be on your computer or on your phone or somewhere else, but if you've opened it, it's going to show up in your list of recents here that you can easily come back and click on it to reopen it. The next one down is files that are within Teams. So these are files that are inside of the Teams instance that have been used. This one's going to show you anything you've downloaded to any of the Teams that you are connected to. So these are items that I've downloaded to the Teams platform. And the last one is OneDrive storage, and the OneDrive storage is your personal storage. And so this is where we have gotten a lot of questions. When people see this, they kind of freak and go, my OneDrive is out there in Teams for everybody. Nope, it is not. Your OneDrive storage is there for you and you alone. They cannot see that. When they open theirs, they see their OneDrive. And the only thing that they would see are things that you shared out. So if you have something where you've shared it with people, whoever you've allowed to share it with, or if you've made it public, those items they would be able to see, but not because your OneDrive is showing here on your Teams platform. So this is truly just for your reference and for you to open and utilize files right within Teams that you own. And then under the three dots is where you're going to see apps. And these apps here that we're seeing are apps that either someone in the Teams platform has downloaded for everyone to use, or they're ones that you've downloaded that you're using personally within Teams. So this is a list of everything that's available to you, whether you downloaded it, someone else downloaded it. It's for personal use of your own or for the whole group, or maybe just one in particular team. But these would be the apps that you would see there. You can click here to go to more apps and look for more. As well as down here at the bottom, you're going to see the app screen as well. And that's going to take us to the App Store where you can see them by different categories. Search for something in particular you're looking for. And there are tons of apps available to you to learn and play with and try. Some of them are a lot of fun. And you have a help button down here at the bottom to get help from Microsoft. And we all know how help works, so we're not going to go there. Underneath your picture at the top, you'll see first is your availability. So here's where you can say I'm available, I'm busy, do not disturb, and set your status. This is what will show up on your little picture when people are looking to see if you're available. What shows up when I started the chat with Steve or added him to a meeting, it adds it there and shows that you would be available or not available. Here you can see I can add text to that, and so it says I'm currently presenting a webinar, so they would see that if they looked on my profile and checked my availability. They would see that there. You can choose to zoom in or out on your Teams as well so that you have larger space and fonts, or smaller if you want to have more real estate and have more stuff showing at a time. Here you can get a list of keyboard shortcuts that go with Teams, something that tells you a little bit about Teams. You can check for updates, and you can also, if you haven't already, download the mobile app from here. So you can go there, it takes you to the App Store, send it to your phone, and then download it to your phone from there. And you can also sign out from here as well. Under settings, you have a few options here. So you can choose different types of screens within. So I like the light one. I'm fond of purple, so we stay with the purple one. There's also a dark and a high contrast. Some people like those darker screens and they look kind of cool. You can choose to use one of those if you prefer those here. You can auto start the application or choose not to, so you have to click and start it. You can open it in the background so that it's always running and updating. On close, you can still keep it running, or you can have it shut down. and you can register when you restart the apps. Choose your language. You can manage your privacy settings, notifications, and here we won't go through them all, but you can make a choice whether you want them to be banner and email, just in the banner, not at all, show only in the feed. There's several options underneath these that you can select for the different things that go on in Teams. If you have them all set to banner and email, you may spend the whole day looking at banners popping up all over your screen and emails, just from the different things going on inside Teams, depending on how large the usage of it is in your company. Here's where you would set your devices. So if you're using a headset like I am, you would set that here. You might have 3 or 4 options, and so you would list them. They would all show up underneath where you can switch back and forth to the ones that you choose to use or have a custom setup. You could set up some permissions. What will you allow? Do you want it to know your location, notifications, external links, things like that? And then here are some of the call rules. How do you want the calling system to work? Do you want it to ring me, forward my calls? If I don't answer, what should we do? What ringtone? And then if you need accessibility, you can turn on the TTY mode. All things under settings. All right, well, with that, I think we're ready to look at the hub of Teams. And so that comes under Teams. So Team Shockwave is currently set up for me, and I have 3 channels. So if this is the team on the top is Team Shockwave. Under the team, I have different channels. So those terms are used frequently inside of Teams. You know, go to this channel. I'm in Team Shockwave. I'm in the client channel, and you'll know where to find things going by that. You could create as many teams and channels as you like. Some teams are spun up to be teams forever and ever, for all of eternity, and will never go away. Other teams were spun up for maybe a project. Maybe they were spun up for a week for, we're planning the cookout for the company, and so we're going to spin up a team for the company cookout. And when it's done, we're going to get rid of it. It might be for a year. So teams can be used in so many ways, not just for this is my team for all of eternity and everything goes here. So you can spin up teams, close teams, delete teams, let them sit till next year's picnic and open it back up and use it again and stuff. So it's all by choice how you guys want to use Teams, but they're a great tool. So think beyond just your main team. It may be 3 people working on an in particular project, or a troubled area that you are troubleshooting and working together. Maybe it's just a paper that you're collaborating on, or a PowerPoint, and so spin up a team for those. Use them, and when you're done, you can either just close them and archive them or delete them. So in Team Shockwave, on our General tab, we have Conversations, Files, Team Shockwave, and MS Business Center. And so this is our main page. And so this is where conversations come in. And you can see one of the bots I've downloaded, we'll talk about them in a little while, is Twitter. And so we have it set up so anything that comes into Twitter that's from Innovia NAV or from MS Partners, it sends us a notification here that, hey, there's a tweet and this is what they said. And so that's kind of a fun thing to see what's being posted out by our company. In here, you can use this just like you would Facebook for just like notices. You can use the same GIFs and stickers on here. Someone said that they'll be in, and I said, awesome. They can say, they're out. We're using another app in here called Simply In and Out, and that's when they said that they were going to be in, and I liked it. So this page, the conversations, is just what it is. It's conversations. It could be for many different things. Again, you can use the weather in here just to tell each other what the weather's like somewhere. Updating different types of stuff within the conversation tab. Files in general would be files that you would upload. You can utilize them here that your team would use on a regular basis. So you may just house them here. within Teams, so they're easy access for you. Things that you would share with each other on that conversation page will also get linked here, like we showed you on the chat page. So if I was to share a file here on this conversation with the team, anyone on the team then can come here and they can see this file in the list of files that we've uploaded to the general section of Team Shockwave. In Team Shockwave, we've created a OneNote page. And so here's where you can utilize OneNote. And so we have OneNote. It's it's a OneNote notebook that is for this Team Shockwave, and you can share it out so that they can see it and upload it into their own OneNotes on their desktops. But here it is, our OneNote on line, and you can add, again, different tabs, different pages for different things in your group. And so our team, we talk about training, we have meetings, and so we can put meeting notes. We do team building experiences, continuous improvement items, and so these things can all be added in to your OneNote notebook. If you're doing meetings and you go under, insert, and meeting details, if you go to meeting details, it pulls up your calendar from Outlook. And so if you're inside of a meeting, you can just grab the information from here and make that the header of your meeting. So here's our go-to meeting today. I can click on that, and now it's created a new page. And it started it off with our information about today's webinar. And I can continue to add notes here to that page as you go along. And we all know that OneNote does connect with Nav and Business Central. So if you're using OneNote with your Nav and Business Central, you can tie it to the page through Nav and utilize it here within your teams as well as you would on your own OneNote. When you click the OneNote button, if it's associated with a page or a section in this notebook, it would pop that right into here inside of Teams. Another thing you can do as a tab in your team is add websites. And so in this case, we have Partner Source set up. And so we can click here and jump right into Partner Source and get information for our clients as needed. And again, it's easy to do. Just click the plus sign. And when you click the plus sign, it will take you here to things you can choose. Maybe it's an Excel file that you use all the time, and so you want to have it available on one of those tabs. You can click here, select that Excel file, and pull that in onto that tab and have it available all the time for them. Same with a Word product. You can do the same there and grab that one. And we're looking for the internet. So I'm going to click on the little website. And so we're going to add Innovia. Oh, it might not let me. Let's see. Yeah, because we're not an S. So it does have to be a secure website or it won't let you add it in. So it's not letting me do it with the S, the HTTPS, so I can't add that one. But you would do the same thing, select one that is a secured website. It has to have the HTTPS, and then you can click the button, choose web, and then add that in on your, as a tab and show it like we did here with Business Central. Coming down to meetings, you can see we've done the same type of thing. We have a conversation tab on meetings. So maybe it's I'm not going to be able to make it. I'm in the meeting. Someone started the meeting. Any files that are shared out here will show up within the meetings. And so here you can see our morning rounds meetings. We have a tab for meeting notes. We have a wiki page, which is fun. You can have a wiki page and add your own antics and anecdotes and things that you guys do and say that you want to like make note of, and this is what that means. So when new people come in, they aren't totally thrown. They can look and see what you guys are talking about. In NAV, we have a lot of acronyms, and so you can make a whole page of wiki acronyms for NAV that we share. Here I've added a PowerPoint. As I said, any Word product you can bring in here the same way. And so here's the PowerPoint that we use daily, and you can just click through it just like you would actual PowerPoint presentation and see the entire PowerPoint right here within the screen as you're moving along. And that's Team Shockwave and getting it set up. So how do we make one of those? So right down here at the bottom, when you're on that Teams tab in the menu, is Join or Create a Team. And so we're going to quickly spin up a team. If you've got a second monitor and you can follow along, feel free to jump in and create a team along with me. So here we're going to go ahead and create a team. We're going to build it from scratch. It's going to be a private group. So this one's going to be the team leads. And you can see just like that, we've created a team. Now I can start adding people to the team. And there I've, just like that, I've created my team, I've added some members, and I've started my general tab. So now we've got conversations, our files is already ready, and we have a wiki page available should we want to use that as well. From there, we can start to add channels. And so here we can click and we can get a link to a channel, we can get an email, we can follow the channel. It might be one that you're very involved in, and so you want to follow that channel and add it to your email. From our Teams tab at the top, you have a different suite of menu items. And so here we can add channels, we can add menus, we can leave the team. The only time you can't leave the team is if you're the only administrator. It'll tell you you need to make somebody else before you leave the team. You can edit the team and you can get a team link. And so here we can add a tab. And so maybe we're going to have a meeting channel. So you can see just that quickly, we can add a channel to the team. You can see down here, it shows some things that you might want to add right off the bat. It gives you some ideas or options. You can start a new conversation. Coming back up here, we could go to managing the team. And so this is within the team. You can make those selections. As people join the team, you can choose to make them a member or owner. So here I can choose to make Chad an owner and move him up top so that now he can also make changes and adjust things within the team as well. And now if I want to, I can leave the team without any problem because Chad can carry on without me when I'm gone. So here's where you can make some adjustments to the different members on the team. Shows your pending requests, the channels they're involved in, and some settings as well. So the last thing to really talk about today is to talk about some of the bots and how that works. And so let's go back to just our main page on the team and take a look at that. And so one of them is the weather. And as you start to add them, you'll start to learn if you use the @ sign, you can use @ sign to mention somebody, and it calls out to them that, hey, you were mentioned in a comment on the Teams page, so they're aware. You can also use it when to call up a bot or an app that you're using inside the group. So here I used @weather, and it quickly brought me up the weather app that we downloaded. and it added it in. And now I can say what location. And I can share that with everybody. Maybe everybody's coming to town for a meeting, and I can let them know, oh, here's what the weather's like here. You might want to bring your raincoat. One of the other apps that I downloaded is Simple In and Out, and I'm not seeing it, so I bet I downloaded it just to the Team Shockwave group. And like I said, you can download apps, so they're just for yourself individually or for the group or for everybody that uses Teams and stuff. So let's go here and let's find an app to bring in. I'm going to search over here in the store. And, you know, maybe I travel a lot and Hipmunk is one that I like. So I'm going to open it. I'm going to add it to, and here you can see I can select where I'm adding it. I'm adding it to the team leads, and I'm going to install that. And yes, I can set it into the general section. I can select which section I want to add it into. Oops, Hipmunk. Going to LA on June 2nd. Let's see. So he's going to ask me, I didn't tell him where I was going from, so he's asking, where are you flying from? And I know that CLE. I put that in there. And this is just a travel app, which is kind of a fun, cool thing. There's tons of apps like this that are intuitive that you can use. There are some out there that you can type in at the app's name and then a website, and it will outline an article from the web that you've associated with it right within here. And so your team would see, instead of having to read a 10-page long article, they can look here and see the outline of that article and the main points, which is kind of another cool thing to do. Where am I going? I told it. And it's working. It goes through tons of stuff. It'll come back with hundreds usually of options for my trip. And so here's some recommendations. It's giving me some other ideas while I'm waiting. And I can select search flights, hotels, and travel. But you get the idea. And so a lot of the apps are like this. They add value depending on what you're looking for. Maybe the team's traveling somewhere. Maybe you guys are going to go to Summit in October down in Orlando, which is a great idea. Just a little bit of a commercial there for the NAVOG community, but a great way to bring up the travel information, and it'll give you all the different rates from all over the place, which is just a really fun thing. The other one that I added up in Team Shockwave was Twitter. So I'll show you that one, and after that one, we'll open for questions if you have any, and then we will be done. Again, Twitter. And add it to setup. This is where it brings in up the connector for you. and you click on configure, and you select on, who it's going to, what account it's going to use when it logs in. And then here you add at what you want it to look for. So you would use here Twitter accounts if you know what they are. And here you can use hashtags. So here we can add navug as a hashtag. We could say we want to see daily or every 15 minutes or hourly, or we can select deliver it when the message happens and it arrives when it happens on time. You can select that and say save. And then anytime there's a hashtag with navug, it will show up in our daily digest on this team. And so there you can see it's telling me that it's set up, and it's going to let me know when there's a tweet containing navug within Twitter. So just some cool little features. Again, like I said, there's hundreds of them out there to look for. And so get on Teams and start playing with the bots, see which ones work for you and your team, or which ones are just fun for a diversion. The search window, as I said, is very robust. And so within your search engine, you type in a word, it's going to look for anything that it can find that has the letters in it within your, gotta clear the weather. I don't have a lot in this Teams page, so it's not going to have a lot to bring up, just a few things going through. But anywhere it sees MORN, it's going to bring it up, whether it's a chat, a file, a message, a meeting. If wherever it's at within Teams, it's going to pop it on this list and show you where it's at. So this is Team Shockwave's meetings. And you could click on the link and go directly there, or review it right here on your search and stuff. So it does seek out anything that you are involved in or any team you're involved in from that search engine that carries the letters or the words that phrases that you put in there. And with that, that's pretty much the basics on Teams. I hope you guys get involved and start using it. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it, and we're working harder and harder to get our team involved in using it more and more. So thank you guys for coming. And if you have any questions, Angie, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, thank you, Holly. Yes, we do have a few questions to ask. Have you used Teams to replace anything? For example, Skype for Business?
Replacing things. So we are working towards replacing Skype and Skype for Business both with Teams. We are in the process of that and getting used to it as a team, using it for meetings and other items as well, and the chat functionality. As it transitions away from Skype for Business, it will become more and more necessary. So if you are using Skype for Business, I definitely encourage you to start getting used to and looking at Teams. I received the first 2 emails for clients this morning letting me know that 6/6 was the date that they were going to transfer their information from Skype for Business over to Teams. So we're starting to see those transitions happen. You can tell them you're not ready and they'll give you some more time, but it is happening. So if you are using Skype for Business, you do want to start getting used to using the Teams platform as well.
All right, thank you. And is there a rapid way to import all my Skype contacts to Teams?
Skype contacts. I have not seen that. I know that when you start your Teams up in your contacts, anything that is an Outlook will come over to Teams. So are your Skype contacts also in your Outlook? Is it all connected, or are they separate just out into Skype? For me, everybody that's in Skype is in my Outlook, so I can't say that they would be different, but we can definitely look and find that out for you. I do not know.
Okay, thank you. And we have a lot of teams and channels. Is there a good way to navigate through these? And
A lot of teams.
Yeah, they have a lot
the
of teams and
channels.
channels. Is there a good way to navigate through these? And he also stated the default is not very good and the search is hit and miss. Just wondering if there is a third-party tool or perhaps another option.
Hmm. The search, again, has worked pretty well for me, but I don't have a ton of teams. And at the company I worked at previously, we had maybe 20 max teams out there and with channels connected, and we never really had a big problem with the search. I know they work on the search all the time. That's an important feature to them to make it more and more robust. I would suggest going to the apps section and typing in search or indexing and seeing if there's something within there that might help with the indexing and stuff. As far as the teams that you're involved in are all going to list and show. If they're teams that you're not involved with, hide those so you don't see them on your list. The ones that are really important to you, click the follow button and make them things that you follow and stuff. And sounds great. If you're using a lot of teams, then you're really utilizing it for what it was meant to be. Just kind of cool.
Yeah, he just mentioned back that they have hundreds of teams that they use.
That's cool.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you. And we got a few more questions coming through. What is the most useful bot you use?
Useful. So far for me, most of them are fun. The one that I'm finding most useful that I'm just starting to use is the simple in and out, and it's an in and out board so that my team can type in their in and out schedules, and they can also schedule right from there their PTO days, or if they're sick, they don't have to send me emails saying, may I please have today off, or I am really sick today. Is it all right if I don't come in? They could just put in their PTO. I'm not feeling well. I even have one of the options is none ya, because it's none of your business, but I'm off. So I give them that freedom, but that simple in and out is just a nice feature, and it's something that I can look at quickly. It also downloads to my phone, so I could see it from my phone, who's in, who's going to be out, what's going on from that as well. So that would right now be my favorite one as far as usefulness. The rest of them have kind of been more fun, like the Twitter and weather and the travel one.
Okay, thank you. And when creating a new team's team, how do you manage the default email group address for contacting the team's members without using the individual channel email addresses?
So you want just for the whole team? Is that the question?
Um, yes, let me rephrase it. When creating a new team's team, what's the best way to manage the default email group address for contacting the team's members? And this may
The
be
group,
something that we have to address offline, possibly.
yeah. It doesn't even want to come back up for me. We got done just in time because it's totally frozen. But they should come up in your email as well. So my teams show up down in my Outlook. You go all the way to the bottom of my list, you'll see groups, and it'll show the different teams that I'm connected to in my groups down there. For me, that's the easiest way to email from teams and to teams is from that list. I don't change any of those. Whatever we make the team is what we utilize. That comes, it sets up, and that's what it is. I
Okay.
haven't tried to change them or alter those, but we can talk about that.
Yeah, we'll contact this person to make sure everything's all um, everything's all good, that they understand everything. So, a couple more. Is there a way to have Jet Reports Scheduler update to a team page?
I don't know, but boy, sure, I would sure love that. Wouldn't you? I've thought of the same things. I would like to be able to, because you can bring Excel in there. So I'd love to see us get Jet in there. That'd be a great question to bring up at a Jet presentation, or see if we can get someone from Jet to come on and let us know if that's possible. If it's not already, they should certainly be thinking about it. But I've thought of that as well. Connecting it to Business Central or to Nav as well. I haven't seen any successful yet. I keep Googling that to see, so somebody's going to make it happen and work in connection with Nav or Business Central. There are some people who have tried. There's a few out there with blogs and that have tried to connect them, but not had a great success on it yet. So I think we're going to see that coming soon too, where you'll be able to connect and have your team meetings and things like that right from your nav. It'll pull your contacts back and forth. So almost work in conjunction with CRM type of stuff as well in that. So I think we're going to see a lot of that coming down the line. But great question.
Okay, thank you. And can Teams be used for project management, or are there better tools?
There are better tools right now for project management. You can use Teams in conjunction with project management. I think it would be pretty bulky to do that. Because you could use Planner in here, you can use your contacts in here. There's a lot of features you could use in the Office suite that you could build your own sort of project management platform. I don't think that it is set up at this point anyways to be full-on project management. I know
Okay.
you could bring Freshdesk and a couple others into Teams. So you can look that way, look at some of the apps that are out there that you can pull into Teams.
All right, thank you. This next question, they would like you to go through the Twitter feed setup again, but since you're not able to get into it, we may
See if
have
I can
to
get on there.
do this offline.
Okay, we can get in here. Let's make a new team. I'll just create a simple one. I have to have a member. Okay, so here we are in general. And we're just going to go down to the App Store. That's not what I wanted to do. And here. Cancel. Go to the store. Jump out here and go to the store and get Twitter. Select the team that you want to put it in. And then install. It's going to let you select your channel if you have more than one channel, and then set up the connector. And then here it's going to go to use the account you want. I can select a new one. I could use one that's already there. And then here you can add accounts. So someone that's on Twitter. Log in here. Oops. I want to go to my photos. Let's do Wednesday wisdom. Hey. Not taking me to where I want to be. Following, there we go. So here's nav skills. I copy this and I paste it in there. I don't want the nav, this little at, because the at's already there. So nav skills could be one that I want to follow. Hashtag could be just nav. And then down here, you can select, do I want to do every 15 minutes, go check. You can schedule it to check every so often, or you can do it deliver the messages as they're tweeted. Here's the notifications. You can include replies, mentions, and retweets. You can select or just when it's originally tweeted. And then you hit save and it sets it up. And then it starts looking for those. That's it. That simple, it's done. And then here it shows you it's set up and what it was set up for. And as they do any tweets from nav skills or with a hashtag nav on it, it's going to come into this feed and add them in. As you can see up in Team Shockwave, they just keep getting added in as we go through the day. And so a fun way, especially for your own company, if you have a website and you guys tweet out and stuff, it's fun to add it in there for people to see what is being tweeted out from the company and stuff. So just another fun thing to do. Kind of productive too. Maybe you want to just do a hashtag in your company's name and see who's tweeting and talking about you. That's it.
All right, well, thank you, Holly. We are out of time, and I apologize that we ran over, but it's a lot of good questions that you've asked, and we'll make sure that everyone's questions gets addressed, and if you need any further assistance, we would be happy to help you. So if you do have more questions, feel free to contact us, and we will address those. And thank you, Holly, for presenting today, and to everyone on today's call, or if you're watching on demand, thank you for joining us. And we do have a few more webinars coming soon. Next week, Tuesday, June 4th, we have Steve Waltz from Innovia Consulting, and he will be presenting on, Is Your Sales Pipeline Real? And then we have Donovan Lane and Tom Doran from Innovia Consulting, and they're going to be presenting on Microsoft has free user licenses for you. Come learn about the new Microsoft License Program. That webinar will be on Wednesday, June 5th. And check out our website for more of our upcoming events, and that's innovia.com/events. Thank you again for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again soon on another Innovia webinar. Have a great day, everyone.